ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first round of the 2020 NOSSCAR GT Cup season. I'm your commentator, Ayrton Frederick, and I'm incredibly excited to be in the commentary booth for this series hosted on Gran Turismo Sport. Today, the long off-season finally comes to an end, bringing us here to Willow Springs International Raceway, located in Rosamond, California. This 2.5-mile, twisty, hilly circuit was opened in 1953, about 80 miles north of downtown Los Angeles. Tonight, Big Willow will serve as host to 13 of some of NOSSCAR's fastest drivers. 8 drivers will return from 2019 for this year's opening round, leaving the remaining 6 spots to rookies. But that does not mean that these rookies are not experienced, as many have raced in other series across NOSSCAR. Without any further ado, let's go through the starting order for today's race. For tonight's event is Bill Baldwin. With 4 wins and 16 podiums last season, he was championship runner-up. He was a Super GT champion as well. This is his 3rd career series pole, and he looks to stay in P1 all night and get his season off as good as he can get it. JRB starts second in another Toyota FT1. He had 2 wins and 8 podiums last season to finish off 4th in the championship. Reigning champion Even Stevens starts 3rd, and with 8 wins and 16 podiums last season in just a 20-race schedule, he absolutely dominated the championship last year, and we look to see that sort of consistency again this year. He's a lone super on the grid, but is 3rd in Toyotas. Our first rookie on the grid is Pac-Man, and he looks to get his nose clean and get off to a good start with his GT Series career and maybe get onto that podium tonight. Percussive is the last of our front 5 Toyotas, and he had just a lone win and lone podium last season, and he looks to kick it into an extra gear this season and maybe get some more wins and podiums this year. The youngest NOSSCAR driver, Jesse Carlson, starts 6th in the first Corvette on the grid, and he also looks to get a good clean race in and maybe get into that top 5, maybe onto the podium. Tyler McMurder, our lone Canadian in the lone GTR, starts 7th. He had a win last season, and he looks to add onto that stat sheet. Chris Perkey is a rookie. He starts in the lowest starting Toyota in 8th, and Chris Ryan starts right behind him. He's looking for a 2nd podium. He had 1 podium last season in just 6 starts. He returns to Team Corvette. Thomas Gayer, in the only Mustang on the grid, he is a returning veteran, ran all of last season. He looks to still find that first podium. Rob Oglesby in the lone Hyundai Genesis starts 11th, just outside the top 10. He is a returning veteran as well. He had just 2 starts last season, but one of the more experienced drivers in all of NOSSCAR. Cameron Norton is a rookie, starting 12th in a Corvette, along with Robert Lohman Sr., rounding out the field in 13th. Jimbo qualified as well. He qualified 4th, but he unfortunately will not make the start. So here we go. Bill Baldwin will lead them away. 13 Group 3 cars coming to take the green flag to start off this 2020 GT Cup Series season in Willow Springs. Here he comes up to the start-finish line and takes the green flag, and we are underway at Willow Springs. Bill Baldwin leads the field, roaring into turn 1 here in the Wild West. These drivers are going to try to stay patient in these early stages of the race, just get some consistent laps going, and try to take advantage of other guys' mistakes. I don't expect anybody to be too aggressive early on, because it's a long race, and you don't want to ruin it too early on. Up the hill they go. And then back down the hill they go through the tricky S's. And that uphill section of turns 3 and 4, that is really tricky because you understeer going up and then it just drops back down right on the apex. And it's easy to misjudge it and run wide. Expect to see a couple drivers make mistakes there at the top of the hill. But as we go through the field, everybody's held station just about. As here we go, here we see an overtake. Tyler McMurder's got Chris Perkey on his inside, and Timac's going to run wide into the dirt. Tyler McMurder has run wide into the dirt in the last 2 corners of the circuit, and he's losing positions every second. Back to 10th. Rob Oglesby goes by. Cameron Norton. And Timac falls back to 12th. And that is not the way you want to start this race. Not the way you want to start your season. That's about it, though, as we start lap 2. Everybody besides Timac has basically held position. Bill Baldwin's still leading the field. JRB all over him, though. Trent Krentz still in 3rd with Pac-Man 4th. This top 5 has a little bit of a gap. Back to Jesse Carlson and Chris Perkey running 6th and 7th. Chris Ryan way off those two. Running a very lonely 8th right now. As he runs off, right where I said last lap. And he's going to fall back to probably about 11th, call it 12th as Timac goes by. So now Chris Ryan runs wide. And he's going to fall way back. Had a really hard time getting back on the circuit. Timac, who made the mistake last lap, going to try to keep it clean through turns 8 and 9 this time around. Right behind Rob Oglesby. Trying to get back into the top 10 in that Nissan GTR. Does not look like he'll get it done this time. So Oglesby will keep him behind him. It's a 4-car train from 8th back to 11th. As here comes Timac down the main straight on the outside of Rob Oglesby. And Rob will yield the position, and Timac's going to take 10th. His charge up the field has begun. Chris Perkey still running in that 7th position. Jesse Carlson runs 6th. Quite a ways off the top 5. Pac-Man still runs 4th with Percussive behind him. Trent Krentz right behind JRB. And Bill Baldwin leading the way through the S's for the 3rd time. Three different race winners. This top 3 finished 1st, 2nd, and 4th in the championship last season. So a lot of talent on the podium right now. Percussive running 5th. Also won a race of his own. Pac-Man, the man in his debut, sponsored by Mountain Dew, runs 4th though. And he is right behind reigning champion Trenton Krentz, who's right behind JRB. Let's see if either of them might make a move. I mean, they are bumper to bumper as they head through turn 2 now. And here we go. He takes a peek around the outside of Trenton Krentz. This is Pac-Man in the number 19 Toyota. Did he make a bit of contact there with Krentz? I don't know, but they're going to head up the hill towards turn 3, and they're side by side. And it looks like Pac-Man's got the job done. Pac-Man moves up to 3rd into the podium positions. Trenton Krentz falls back to 4th. As Percussive sees it all go down from 5th. Bill Baldwin still leads the way. Jesse Carlson runs 6th going down the hill there. Chris Perkey, he runs wide in the dirt. Just keeps it going the right way. Thomas Gare's got Timac all over his back bumper as they head down the hill. Timac made that mistake at the end of lap 1. Trying to charge to the field. He's already made some very early progress. Back up to 9th. Working to get 8th right here. As we come towards turns 8 and 9, Timac is going to take a peek around the outside of the Ford Mustang, and the GTR downforce is superior to Mustang downforce. You saw it right there, as Timac will take P8. Thomas Gare falls back to 9th. Rob Oglesby runs 10th. Cameron Norton 11th. Chris Ryan 12th. Rob Lemon Sr. has gone off the track a handful of times, excuse me. He runs 13th. Bill Baldwin still leads the way in 1st. JRB has fallen back maybe just a little bit to Bill as they head up through turns 3 and 4 now. Pac-Man, who made a nice move on Trent Krentz a lap ago, in a podium position in his debut. Might he get a move done here on JRB? He's right behind him. Going down this back straight into turns 8 and 9. A flat out right-hander there, and then you carry a lot of speed in this next right-hander of turn 9, and it's really easy to misjudge it. And right as I say that, JRB's going to run wide. He hits the dirt, and Pac-Man's going to try to take advantage. They're going to be side by side down the front straightaway for P2, and it looks like Pac-Man's going to get the job done. JRB, will he fight back on the inside? No, he will not, and Pac-Man has gone from 4th to 2nd in a matter of just 2 laps. Can he chase down Bill Baldwin, who's got to love this battle going on in his mirror? It's going to help him drive off from the rest of the field. But it's early yet. Percussive still runs in 5th. Watching all this go down right in front of him. Trent Krentz hits the dirt a little bit. Might hold him up a little bit for Percussive to take a peek at a move through the S's. Maybe not. Jesse Carlson running a lonely 6th place, but a very proud 6th place, as it is his debut as well. Just going to try to keep it clean. Meanwhile, Timac has gotten back up to 7th. He's gotten around Chris Perkey at some point, who's not too far off behind him as he goes to the dirt, exiting turn 4. Thomas Gare still running 9th, just behind Chris Perkey. Cameron Norton's up to 10th. Chris Ryan 11th. And something has gone on with our leaders. Let's see if we can get a replay. Here's Bill Baldwin leading. This is a replay of something that just happened just a second ago. He comes through 8 and 9. And he's got quite a lead. And he just completely overshoots the corner. He goes off in the dirt, and that's your race leader. This happened just a couple seconds ago. Bill Baldwin runs off, hits the wall, goes almost into a 180, and he's going to fall far back in the field from that. That happened just about half a minute ago. So we're going to go back up to live time, and Pac-Man leads the way. In just 3 laps, he went from 4th to 1st. And Percussive got around Trenton Krentz. So all sorts of things shaping up with the top 5 early on this race. Bill Baldwin fell back to 6th from that. Jesse Carlson up to 5th. So 2 rookies in the top 5. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th with 9 wins last season between them. Or, excuse me, 11 wins. Trenton Krentz with 8. Percussive had 1. And JRB had 2 wins. And Pac-Man is in his debut race. So he leads 3 seasoned veterans just 8 laps into this Willow Springs Grand Prix. Can he keep him behind him? That's a different story. We're not even 10 minutes in. This is an hour-long event. And JRB, he's got to be kicking himself, because if he did not make that mistake out of the final corner a couple laps ago, he would have stayed in front of Pac-Man more than likely, and then he'd be leading this race now. But that is not how it is. Pac-Man leads the way, with JRB 2nd, Percussive 3rd, and Trenton Krentz in 4th. Jesse Carlson quite a way back to 5th, and quite a way back behind him is Bill Baldwin. Timac has made his way back up to 7th, the starting position that he lost on the opening lap by running wide. He's done a good job of coming back, and let's see if he can make it up further. Thomas Gare runs 8th. He's gotten around Chris Perkey, who, this is probably why, he's off in the dirt somewhere between turns 2 and 3. This is a really odd part of the circuit to be off. He's going to fall back to about 11th. Very strange sight to see there, as Chris Ryan will now take 9th and Cameron Norton up to 10th. Excuse me, he's going to run wide out of turn 4. And that's going to give Chris Perkey... No, Chris Perkey runs off on the inside of the circuit. And everybody's just off track right now, exiting turn 4. Cameron Norton finally gets the car back going. Chris Perkey just behind him. And Chris Ryan now way up the road. Rob Oglesby's getting blue flagged back in 12th place. With Rob Lohman, I think, already about 2 or 3 laps down, runs 13th. Back up front, and still Pac-Man going through the S's now. And he's, so far in this early 10% of the race, if you will, he's been the quickest and most consistent out of everybody on track. And that is a combination that you really need in this series. JRB, just that one slight mistake running wide out of that final corner, cost him essentially the lead. And then, of course, Bill Baldwin with a big mistake not only cost him the lead, cost him a podium and a top 5. He's back to 6th, but I'm sure he's a Super GT champion, runner-up in this championship last season. I'm sure he can catch up and probably get back into that top 5, but we'll have to wait and see. It's a long race. Jesse Carlson runs in 5th right now, with Trenton Krentz 4th. Pac-Man leads JRB 1 and 2, Percussive 3rd. Besides that top 4, everybody's pretty spread out right about now. Most of the action is guys just, I think, basically just dealing with tire wear. That must be what it is at this point in the race. It's just tire wear's making it really difficult to keep the car on the track. As we saw, what was it, a lap ago, 2 laps ago, 2 different drivers ran off in the same exact part of the track, one after another. So that likely could be due to tire wear, and we will see pit stops very soon. If you look at the timing sheets on the right side of your screen, Pac-Man's time last lap was 7/10 slower than the lap before. So tire wear could be really kicking in right now here in the desert. Go to our 11th lap of the Grand Prix. JRB right behind Pac-Man, going through 1 and 2. It's such a tricky track to pass on if the guy in front of you is smooth. You got to be just that much better out of a corner and just carry that much more momentum, because the back straightaway, the turn right after that, it's a fast right-hander. And then the main straightaway, the turn at the end of that is a fast left-hander. So it's the faster a corner is, the harder it is to overtake. So it's just a really tricky track to pass on if the guy in front of you keeps his car on the track. Right now, JRB trying to get that job done, or hope that Pac-Man makes a mistake, which right now is looking pretty unlikely. See there, JRB runs the turn 8 a lot tighter than Pac-Man did, which I think in theory should compromise his turn 9 exit, but right now he's all over Pac-Man's back bumper, just about bump drafting him down the main straight. Will he go for a move into turn 1? No, he will not. He had a lot of speed out of turn 9, but just did not have enough to get that job done. That's what I was talking about just a second ago, is that left-hander turn 1, it's just so tricky to pass if you're not already alongside, because there's just not enough braking that you have to do to go for a dive bomb or anything. Right there, you see Pac-Man runs a lot wider out of turn 3 than JRB. Took it a lot tighter. So definitely different lines going on right now between these drivers. And that could affect tire wear. JRB taking the corners a lot tighter means he's turning sharper, which could wear out his tires a little quicker than they are on Pac-Man, who's taking the turns a little wider. Percussive right behind these two. He can make a move if these two come together, and right now, Pac-Man is in the pits. So, your leader, Pac-Man, Percussive, and JRB have followed him in. Trenton Crenson, 4th, follows them in. So your entire top 4 have entered the pits. Jesse Carlson coming down the main straight. Pac-Man will beat him out, and that is huge. Pac-Man has beat Jesse Carlson out, so he will maintain P1. That's how far ahead he was. Bill Baldwin did not come in. But JRB, who is running 2nd, now runs 4th. Obviously a net 2nd, but he's got now 2 different cars between he and Pac-Man in the lead. And that is huge, because Jesse Carlson and Bill Baldwin will hold up JRB and Trenton Krentz, who has jumped Percussive, by the way. Good stop by Trenton Krentz's crew. As there are yellow flags for somebody going off there in turn 3. So yeah, JRB and Trenton Krentz and Percussive, they're all going to be held up by Jesse Carlson and Bill Baldwin. And Pac-Man just can drive off into the sunset. That is huge. Timac still running 7th. Chris Ryan in 8th. Thomas Gayer in 9th. Chris Perky 10th. Rob Oglesby up to 11th. Cameron Norton must have had an issue. He's back to 12th. And Rob Lohman Sr. in 13th. 3 laps down. But right now, dominating the race, in theory, is Pac-Man. He now, I believe, has the most laps led. He has a... Let me do some math here. That'd be 1.7 plus 2.3. About a 4-second gap back to JRB, who is net P2. And going into that stop, JRB was all over his back bumper. So that, just beating out Jesse Carlson, has helped him out huge amounts. And who knows when Jesse and Bill Baldwin will be coming in. They could hold the rest of that top 3 up for a while. Meanwhile, Percussive has got to be very upset with his crew members for giving him such a long stop. He got beat out pretty good by Trent Krentz. Cameron Norton running 10th as Chris Perky right on him, looking for that last position in the top 10. Rob Oglesby fell back to 12th. With Rob Lohman still 13th. But you can see on the track map the gap from first to net P2, who's running 4th. As right now Tyler McMurder comes in, he brings his Nissan GTR into the pit stalls. His first stop of the day. Fueling the car up. We expect everybody to run just about the same strategy. It would be really risky to run an alternate strategy. But right now you are seeing guys like Jesse Carlson, Bill Baldwin. We'll see if Chris Ryan comes in now as somebody's run off right in front of him. That would be Cameron Norton. Chris Ryan's going to stay out still. Thomas Michael Gary will stay out. So yeah, the pit window is probably from when our leaders came in. Probably another 5-6 laps after that. But right now it's Pac-Man who's got a big lead now. And here comes Jesse Carlson to make his first stop of the day. He comes in from 2nd on track. Before the pit stop started, he was running 5th. Bill Baldwin will stay out, and he was right behind Jesse when the stop started. We'll see if Bill can get a overcut on Jesse. As somebody's run off there, that's going to be Rob Lohman Sr. He's run off just outside turn 5. And Cameron Norton in 12th is almost a whole lap ahead of Rob. He runs wide going into turn 5. And neither of those drivers have pit yet, so that could be part of the reason. See here, Timac right behind Jesse Carlson. These two have both pit. This is the battle for around 5th or 6th once the pit cycles end. And that could become very interesting. NOSSCAR president versus youngest driver in NOSSCAR. We'll see how that shapes up. But right now, JRB has gotten around Bill Baldwin for P2, and now he's going to try to chase down this big gap. It's now 6.5 seconds between Pac-Man and JRB. Here's Trent Krentz trying to get around Bill Baldwin down the main straight, all over him, and will not go for the move. But you remember when the pit stop started, it was at most a second, the gap from Pac-Man to JRB. Now it's over 6 seconds. That's how much Jesse Carlson and Bill Baldwin held them up. As you see there, Trent Krentz right now playing from another planet, lagging all over the place. Percussive right behind him. Probably going to take it easy, try not to overtake Trent Krentz, who is playing from Mars right now. You see here, JRB has driven off from those guys. Gonna try to chase down Pac-Man in the lead. Chris Ryan comes in just now for his first stop of the day in the 24 DuPont Chevrolet. He's running at the tail end of the top 10 there. You see Timac, he just ran off the track a second ago. We got the tail end of that. So that's going to help Jesse Carlson drive off from him a little bit. Actually, he's going to hit the dirt through turn 6. So it's battle for 6th. Not quite over, as Bill Baldwin is in for his first stop of the day. I believe, at least of the top 10 runners, he's the last driver to come in. Let's see where he comes out in relation to these two, Jesse Carlson and Timac, because he should be right around them when he leaves the pits. Here they go. Timac and Jesse Carlson have gone by. Bill Baldwin will come out in between them. So Bill Baldwin comes out of the pits in 6th, which I believe is where he was running before he pit. Jesse Carlson will maintain that 5th, but Bill Baldwin's got a couple lap fresher tires than him. We'll see if he can chase him down. Timac right behind him. and about half a lap back to Thomas Michael Gayer in 8th. Chris Ryan runs 9th. About a sector behind him. Rob Oglesby has just started his 17th lap. He's about half a lap behind, running 10th. Chris Perkey runs 11th. Not too far off Rob. Cameron Norton right behind Chris Perkey, looking for that 11th position. And Rob Lohman Sr. runs 14th, 5 laps down. Right now, your top, I believe, 7 are on the lead lap. Yes. No, top 8 and 8th place Thomas Gayer is pretty close to being put a lap down. To see Pac-Man lapping Cameron Norton for, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd time today. Next car on track is, let's see who that is. I believe that's Thomas Gayer running 8th. He will become the first car lap down. So, the way it's shaping up right now is Pac-Man has broken away from a little bit of a battle between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. JRB a little bit ahead of Trenton Krentz and Percussive, who run 3rd and 4th. Jesse Carlson's got 2 cars right behind him for track position, Bill Baldwin and Timac. And then from there, everybody's just spread out trying to put down some fast laps. Thomas Gayer runs 8th. Tail end of the lead lap. Here's Chris Ryan running off in the dirt, running 9th. Chris Perkey runs 10th, quite a way off of 9th. Cameron Norton pretty close to Chris. Rob Oglesby runs 12th. Rob Lohman Sr. running off track again in 13th. So, some choo-choo trains here and there for position. But for the most part, everybody's pretty spread out. Right now, the main battle is for 3rd, the last podium position between Trenton Krentz and Percussive. Through the S's they go. Percussive got around Trenton at some point before the first pit cycle. We did not see it live, but he got around him around lap 6 or 7, I believe. So we know he's got the pace to do it, but then he got beat out of the pits. And that's why he runs 4th now. Jesse Carlson now is Bill Baldwin right on his back bumper, coming out of turn 6. Will Bill go for the move here, going through the final corners to turn 8 and 9? The smallest left-hand kink is classified as turn 7 as Bill runs in the dirt. As they come into turn 9, Jesse Carlson, can he keep his cool? They're going to be side by side through turn 9. That's an aggressive move by Bill. Jesse runs off track. And he's going to just keep it off the pit wall, but he's not going to keep P5. He's going to fall back to 6 as Timac flies by. And the battle between the veteran and the rookie, the veteran prevails. Jesse does not lose too much time, though, from that, but obviously lost 2 positions, and at this track, that is huge. That moves Timac back up to 6. Highest he's run all day, I believe. And Bill up to 5th. Trying to continue his charge back up through the field after wrecking out from P1. Now check in on the battle for 3rd. Percussive, at this point, I mean, the tires are probably getting to that point where they're getting old. It'd be tricky to be aggressive. And you see the gap between these two. Percussive probably just going to hope that Trenton makes a mistake. A rare mistake for the reigning champion. It would have to be. Timac, can he chase down Bill Baldwin? 4P5. Bill obviously on the freshest tires in the field, I believe. So that would be quite a task. As Jesse Carlson's gone off again. In the same exact corner. Turn 9, he's gone very wide in turn 9. Can he make sure... Can he keep it out of the pits? No, he's going to go through the pits. And this has probably really thrown off his strategy. Jesse Carlson, who I have not seen make a mistake until just a lap ago, has made another mistake in just 2 laps. He still will hold 7th, which is good. But that has definitely thrown off his strategy. But he had to commit to going in the pits, or else he probably would have hit the pit road wall. And that is huge. Meanwhile, Percussive has gotten around Trenton Krentz. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. He's going through the S's, out of turn 6. And he just runs it really far to the inside and just slides by Trenton Krentz for P3. This happened just a second ago. And that has changed the podium positions. He actually runs wide there out of the final corner, but I believe he's going to hold on to that position. Yes, he does, as they lap 2 other drivers of Rob Lohman, and I believe that is Chris Perky, yes. As Chris Ryan comes in for his second stop, and it seems like the second stint has been a lot shorter than the first. Paquin still leads the way with quite a safe gap back to JRB in second. Percussive and Trenton Krentz going at it a lap ago will not help their case of trying to chase down second. Bill Baldwin runs 5th with Timac just behind him. He might not be gaining, but he's definitely not losing Bill. So it'll be interesting to see how this battle plays out over the remainder of the race. Jesse Carlson still runs 7th after a big mistake forces him to pit just about. But with fresh tires, maybe he can get a big undercut on Bill Baldwin and Tyler McMurdo. Your top 7 run on the lead lap as they just start lap 24. And it's first place to Pac-Man in the number 19 Mountain Dew Toyota. JRB runs second in the 12 Toyota. Percussive in the 33 Toyota. And then Trenton Krentz in the number 15 Corona Toyota. And then the 21 Toyota. So Toyota is your top 5. Then you got a GTR in 6th, another Japanese brand. And then you got American Corvette, American Mustang. Here's your last running Toyota. Not really on the track right now. Runs way off in turn 3. You're going to have to flip it back around. And that's going to be really tricky on that part of the track, the uphill section. This is Chris Perky. He's gone way off the track. Between turn 3 and 4. He's in 9th. Oh, and he's gone off there. Exiting turn 4. Very unfortunate, about 1/10 of a mile for Chris Perky. As JRB, running in second, has come in. And it really seems like this first stint might have been shorter than the second stint. Actually, no. I stand corrected. I lied. Don't listen to me. I'm just in the commentator's booth. These guys know what they're doing. I don't. So Percussive comes in from 3rd. Trent Krentz from 4th comes in. Pac-Man stays out. And Trenton Krentz again has jumped Percussive in the pits. So Percussive had just got around Trenton Krentz, and Percussive comes out behind Bill Baldwin. And that's going to hurt that battle for 3rd as well. Percussive, who just got around Trenton, falls back behind him again in the pits. I don't know if Trenton's crew is just really good, or if Percussive's crew is slacking today. But coming out behind Bill Baldwin will definitely not help his case, as now he's going to be held up. Timac still runs 6th. Jesse Carlson still runs 7th. And here comes your leader, Pac-Man, to make his second stop. JRB just exiting turn 8, coming into turn 9 now. As Pac-Man will leave his box right now. It's about half of the main straight gap between these two, which will come out to about a 7.5 second gap, and then another 5 seconds back to Trenton Krentz in 3rd. So top 3 separated by about 10 seconds. Before the first pit stop, the top 4 were separated by probably 3 seconds. But once the pit cycle started, everything got thrown off, and has now just made it about being consistent and clean, which on a tricky track like this can be very difficult. Jesse Carlson, who is one of the most consistent guys for the first 20 laps of the race, just made two big mistakes about 5 laps ago, and has definitely thrown off his strategy. He pit about 2 or 3 laps before anyone else, so he's going to have to nurse those tires towards the end of the race. We're halfway through the race now, and right now you got Pac-Man leading. He's led every lap since he took the lead at the end of lap 6. JRB's gone off track in the final corner. He was running second. Let's see if we get a replay of this. He was running about 7-8 seconds behind your leader, Pac-Man. He comes through turn 8, into turn 9, and just overshoots it like we've seen so many guys do today, and slams into the wall. And again, a driver in the top 5 making a big mistake in turn 9. So JRB, if we go back to live timing, runs 6th. And remember, he has pit. So I guess that kind of helps his case a little bit, because he's right behind Timac, who's yet to pit. So he should be a net at least P5. It depends on where Bill Baldwin will come out. But JRB running second, another one of the smoothest drivers we've seen today, makes just one mistake, and that's all it will take. So now Pac-Man has a big gap back to Trenton Krentz in second. First to second now is an 11.2 second gap. Bill Baldwin runs third. He's yet to make his second stop. Percussive, just trying to get around our pole sitter, but he just can't do it. Tyler McMurder runs 5th, not too far behind that battle. JRB, one mistake is all it'll take. He goes from 2nd to 6th. Jesse Carlson, he runs 7th through the S's now. Chris Ryan just made a mistake. He's almost a whole lap behind Jesse. Rob Oglesby runs 9th at the tail end of the top 10, and Rob Lohman Sr. runs 10th. 3 drivers have dropped from the race. Cameron Norton, Chris Perkey, and Thomas Michael Gare have all dropped out at some point over the last couple laps. You see there, Rob Lohman Sr. runs wide out of turn 4. Not his first adventure off in the dirt today. Also, Jimbo qualified 4th in his first ever race. He unfortunately cannot make the start. So 14 drivers qualified, 10 remain here in Willow Springs. And it has showed why it's referred to as the Wild Wild West. As just about everybody but this man has made some sort of mistake. Number 19 Mountain Dew, Toyota FT1, has just dominated the last 20 laps or so. Trent Krentz, reigning champion, has been smooth and consistent, just not really running the lap times he needs to have stayed up with your leader, Pac-Man. And Percussive, he's been pretty smooth and consistent, but his pit stops have just been slow, and it's been losing him track position, as he has just now recently gotten around Bill Baldwin to now take that 3rd place. As JRB has gotten around Timac, who's now coming into the pits for his 3rd stop of the day, I believe. Or is this his 2nd stop? This is just his 2nd stop. So he has really stretched out this stint. Speaking of which, Bill Baldwin is stretching it out as well. So a lot of cars right now in the middle of Sector 2. Lap cars and guys running up front. When will Bill Baldwin come in, I wonder? Obviously, he was leading when he made a big mistake, very similar to JRB's. So he might try to pull off some sort of alternate strategy to make up some time that he lost. Pac-Man starts lap 35 minutes, into the race. 25, close to 24 minutes remain here from Willow Springs. Trent Krentz, reigning champion, runs a 2nd place. And the top 3 guys, they deserve it. They've been I believe, the only guys to really keep the car on the track today. And it's just been about the smallest things, and Pac-Man has avoided all the small mistakes, and that's why he leads so dominantly. JRB, who has pit, has a bit of a gap up to Bill Baldwin, who's yet to pit. About 4.5 seconds. It'd be huge for his race if he could catch up to Bill before Bill pits. So obviously JRB, just a couple laps ago, made a mistake out of the final corner, similar to Bill Baldwin's mistake. And that cost him 2nd place, dropped him back to now 5th. Jesse Carlson, by the way, while Ty-Mac pitted, overtook Ty. So he's back up to 6th, but obviously Jesse pit about 8 laps before Ty. So with this second stint, strategies are becoming very, very different. Percussive. Now without the number 21 Toyota, Bill Baldwin in his way, can he try to chase down Trenton Krentz for the 3rd time? He's passed Trenton twice, and then has gotten passed in the pits twice. And that's just got to be so frustrating. Bill still yet to pit. His last lap was a 13.2, while your leader's was a 12.4. So not quite a second off the pace. So right now, stretching it out won't lose him too much time. 12.6 for JRB, who's trying to chase down Bill, so he was about 0.6 faster last time around. Jesse Carlson, who in theory should be right around where Bill is when Bill pits, right now is about, call it 27 seconds behind Bill. I think Bill, when he pits, will come out in front of Jesse, which will mean that he's pulled off quite an overcut of about 10 laps. Ty-Mac, on those fresher tires than Jesse, looks like he's closing in. So this is a battle for 6th, maybe 5th. And Ty is your last car on the lead lap, and we'll try to so kindly hand that position to Jesse Carlson instead. Chris Ryan running 8th. 1 lap down, is an entire lap behind Ty. So it'd be difficult to catch up to that 7th position. Rob Oglesby in the Hyundai, just starting his 29th lap as your leader's on his 32nd, and Rob Lohman Sr. running wide in the dirt again, has just turned that Corvette into an off-roader today. And at this point, we'll just try to finish the race and get those points for 10th and focus on next week. But up front, focusing on a victory, is Pac-Man, who right now is nearly 13 seconds ahead of reigning champion Trent Krentz. This is rookie versus reigning champ. And rookie really dominating that battle. And if you ask me, it looks like Percussive has dropped off from 2nd place. Could he just be nursing it, and then we'll just try to go all out in the last 2 stints? As here comes Bill Baldwin from 4th place. Where will he come out? JRB might not even pass him. JRB coming down the main straight now. Bill Baldwin has yet to leave his box, so JRB will overtake him. Has Bill Baldwin pulled off one of the longest overcuts you might ever see? Ty-Mac and Jesse Carlson have just left turn 9, and Bill Baldwin, who pit about 10 laps earlier than Jesse Carlson, and then about 5 laps earlier than Ty, has pulled off a huge overcut, as now we have a door-to-door duel into turn 1, and Jesse Carlson will just hold off Ty. So Bill Baldwin up to 5th, way up the road from these two. And this will help his case as these two go at it now up the hill towards turn 3. Ty just about giving him the bumper up the hill. Ty, will he take the peak down the inside? Yes, he will. And Tyler McMurder has taken P6 on the fresher tires. And it'll be really difficult to close up to Bill Baldwin, who's now in 5th, who has worked a strategy masterclass to get up to a very comfortable 5th place. And now might be able to focus on chasing down JRB for 4th. And what a comeback that would be for Bill Baldwin. Percussive closed in about 4/10 last time around on Trent Krentz. Trenton must have had an issue because he was also 4/10 slower than Pac-Man. So this battle for second runs up the hill right now. With now less than 20 minutes to go here in the season opener, Jesse Carlson comes in for his third stop of the day. And if you remember, he pit about 12 laps ago because of that mistake he made. And Chris Ryan's in as well, who's a lap behind Jesse. So, strategy is getting very, very mixed up now about past halfway through this race. Jesse pits just a lap after Bill Baldwin pits when they were running bumper to bumper about a pit stop ago. So things getting very interesting in terms of strategy right now. Bill Baldwin looking to try to pull off one stop less than everybody else to make up for that mistake he made early on. And it will be tricky, but so far he's worked it beautifully. JRB running in fourth, who pit couple laps before Bill. He runs 5 seconds ahead of him. So Bill, I would not rule him out of a possible fourth place, which would be a heck of a comeback after falling back to, I believe, 7th or 8th about 30 laps ago. So it is a slow progress, but is a steady progress back up through the field for Bill Baldwin. One man who has been fast and steady, however, is Pac-Man, who starts his 36th lap. He has now led 29 laps. This will be his 30th. He took the lead from Bill Baldwin and has not looked back. And if he looks back, he will not see any sort of pressure, as Trenton Krentz has now fallen to about 14.2 seconds back in second place. Percussive definitely falling back a little bit from him, almost 3 seconds behind. Was 2/10 slower last time around. JRB, he starts his 36th lap running fourth, so that's a 13-2, while Bill Baldwin set an 11-1, so 1.3 seconds the gap closed last time around for this battle for fourth. So definitely do not rule out Bill Baldwin for P4 today. If anything, the odds are in his favor. Timac running a very lonely 6th right now. Of course, his closest competition, Jesse Carlson, going a lap down. However, Jesse has already made his third stop. As you see your leader, Pac-Man, he comes in for his third stop. And as long as he keeps it clean, he should maybe keep the lead. I'm not sure. Trent Krentz coming out of turn 9 now. He will come in. So Pac-Man, yes, will more than definitely keep the lead and continue leading every lap since he's taken that lead. Percussive, who is quite a way behind Trent Krentz, can he get a miracle stop and somehow jump him? They go at it. Here comes JRB. He will not pit this time around. He will take P2 on track. Bill Baldwin goes by, taking P3 on track. No, he'll stay in fourth, I believe. No, he has jumped. Percussive has jumped Trenton Krentz? No. Timing sheet's having some issues. Trenton Krentz holds second, with Pac-Man obviously in first. JRB runs third. Bill Baldwin fourth. Percussive fifth. So again, Percussive comes out behind the slower traffic and just makes that chase for second place that much more difficult. And now JRB with Bill Baldwin all over his back bumper, just about another nearly second faster last time around. Bill Baldwin will probably be looking to make a move within the next 2 or 3 laps. Timac yet to make his third stop of the day. Runs 6th still, Jesse Carlson. Running 7th, still on the lead lap after Pac-Man made his pit stop. He runs about 24 seconds off Ty. So, it should be close between those two. As we come down to just now under 15 minutes left to go in this race. Pac-Man dominating the day. Trent Krentz has been consistent, has been quick, just not quite quick enough. to keep it with Pac-Man. And he's just going to look to try to hold on that P2. Percussive, who's gone up into as high as P2. Just his pit crew has not been on it. And he has fallen behind Trent Krentz every pit stop. So he's going to look to try to keep his head down and maybe chase down Trenton for that second place. But it will be tricky, as again, his bad luck continues coming out behind slower cars. Bill Baldwin trying to pull off a really nice comeback, runs fourth, and he again has closed in on JRB by nearly 2 seconds around last time. And Percussive hopes that these two, if they're going to run off track, stay out of his way. But he's going to hope that whatever goes on in front of him doesn't hold him up too much. As here we go, out of the final corner, JRB is going to come to stop, and Bill Baldwin will take P3. And of course, with his, what at this point is very definite alternate strategy, Bill Baldwin, we don't really know what his position is at this point. But we do know Percussive runs fourth. Technically should be third. Tyler McMurdo comes in for his next pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Jesse Carlson, who right now is going through turns 8 and 9. JRB has left his stall. He comes out in fifth. Timac has left his stall, and he's going to jump Jesse by almost the entire front straightaway. So again, an overcut really beats Jesse Carlson, who by looking at his timing sheets, has not had a very fun last couple of laps. So Timac now holds a pretty steady 6th place. As right now, it's just down to strategy at this point. As you see there, Trent Krentz runs a little wide at turn 9. That's the most I've ever seen him put a foot wrong tonight. But Bill Baldwin running third, still holding up Percussive for the millionth time tonight. Percussive has just got to be so upset. He's been so close so many times to running second place, and then just one thing goes wrong and holds him up. He set his own personal best of the race last time around. But that won't really matter when the guy in front of him is doing 7/10 slower. Up the hill he goes, all over Bill Baldwin, and if he's going to try to pass him, he wants to do it somewhere where it can be quick and easy. Try to clear him down the inside or outside into turn 8 and 9. That would probably be the quickest and easiest overtake. Or hope that Bill gets a bad exit out of turn 6. Turn 6, excuse me. But it will not happen that time around. Actually, it looks like Bill gets a better exit out of the S's than Percussive did. Through turns 8 and 9. I wonder when Bill will pit. The tires last, if you're going to do a quick stint, probably around 11, 12 laps. Which, if he's going to go to the end, that's a big risk. And at this point, he could pit now and definitely go to the end. But it's Bill Baldwin, one of the most talented guys in NOSSCAR, Super GT champion. Won 4 races in this series last year with 16 podiums. And was the pole sitter tonight. So he knows what he's doing. But it would be a miracle just about to hang on to these tires for the rest of the race. And also keep Percussive behind him. JRB coming into turn 3 now as Bill Baldwin goes through 5. So it's a bit of a gap. And Bill Baldwin, I believe, technically, if he pits, he will be battling with JRB. So do you just take that risk that you're going to take third and just hope that your tires don't blow up? Or do you just pit and settle for probably a 5th at best? I don't know. We'll see what he does. We got now just 9.5 minutes left. And he's got Percussive on his back bumper going down the main straight, but the slipstream just not strong enough to help you into turn 1 enough. As someone's gone wide into turn 1. Bill Baldwin slides through turn 1, and Percussive's going to go around his outside through turn 2. So Percussive up to P3 around Bill Baldwin on the much older tires. And that was that one mistake Percussive needed from Bill to get by, and just now he can only hope that he can catch up to Trent Krentz, who, again, is playing from Mars. Pac-Man just way ahead of everybody else right now. 17.2 seconds ahead of Trenton in second, who's 4.5 ahead of Percussive. And Bill Baldwin probably will not be able to keep up with Percussive on those tires that are so much older. So he's worried now about JRB, who's on fresh tires, less than 13 seconds back. And from there, everybody should hold their position, tie. Jesse Carlson, Chris Ryan, Rob Oglesby, Rob Lohman Sr., they're probably locked in those positions unless they make some big mistakes. So right now, the battles are second and third. It'll take a lot. And then Bill Baldwin, can he keep those tires for the rest of the race? And also keep JRB behind him. JRB last time around set an 11.8, which was 1.9 seconds faster than Bill Baldwin. It will be interesting to see if he can do that. That would be really stretching the limit of those tires. But one thing that has not changed is the Toyota dominance today. It is a top 5 for Toyotas again. And then Nissan runs 6. Japan has got to be pleased today with the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series. One man who's definitely pleased is driving the number 19 Mountain Dew Toyota FT1 Pac-Man, who took the lead on lap 6, has not turned back, has led every lap since then, including the pit cycles. And by the looks of his timing sheets, it's kind of stopped being so aggressive. At this point, he's just going to try to cruise home. He's got 7 minutes left now in the Grand Prix. And we'll just try to take it easy from here. Trent Krentz is flying through the sky. Probably won't catch him. He's 17.2 seconds back. Percussive, though, is 4.6. He lost half a second last time around. And actually, Bill Baldwin's still on him, and Percussive runs wide through the rabbits here. And although I said Bill Baldwin will probably not keep up with Percussive, Percussive makes one mistake, and as we have learned today, that is all it will take to just ruin your day. And Bill Baldwin back up to P3, yet to make what should be his final stop. At this point, I don't even know if you take that final stop. I think at this point, he's committed to just going to the end. And if Bill Baldwin can get on the podium, that would be an amazing comeback drive. Percussive falling back to 4th after at one point looked like he could have as high as 2nd. Just the luck has not been on his side, and then just that one mistake has maybe ruined his chances of a podium. JRB now not too far off Percussive for 4th. Timac made a pit stop last time around. That'll definitely be his last of the day. I think it was just to make sure he makes it to the end. He's not really racing anybody right now, so he should hold on to that 6th place. He made one mistake at the end of lap 1, and to my knowledge, that's the only mistake he's really made today. Jesse Carlson runs 7th in his debut. 2 mistakes were all it took for him. And he went from 5th to 7th, and he stayed in 7th still. A really solid debut for him, but the man with one of the best debuts you can ask for is Pac-Man. Running in 1st, has led the most laps by far, with just 5 minutes left. It's nothing to worry about with Trent Krentz in 2nd, about half a lap behind. Bill Baldwin, not too far off Trenton as they go down the back straight, but I mean, it'd be really something if he can catch up to 2nd place. Percussive with JRB behind him. That battle, let's check their lap times this time around and see if JRB could possibly be catching Percussive for P4. And see if this battle is still on. Percussive here on lap 45 as he comes to end this lap and start 46. He sets a 1:12.8. Here comes JRB across the line. He sets a 1:12.8. So that gap stays just about the same over that lap. That's not what JRB's going to want if he wants to get back up to 4th. And 2 guys who definitely had a shot at P2 at some point this race, not even on the podium anymore, running for 4th and 5th. Trenton Krentz and Pac-Man, the only two guys who have really stayed where they started. And they run 1 and 2. Bill Baldwin with a heck of a comeback drive up to P3 right now. Just going to try to nurse those tires home. He's got 13.4 last time around, compared to Percussive's 12.8. He's got to pick up the pace if he wants to catch him, but Percussive might just catch up to Bill again. Down to 3.5 minutes remaining now. And Pac-Man set a 12.9 that time around. These tires coming towards the end of their life. So do not rule out some late race mistakes for some of these drivers. Bill Baldwin last time set a 13.4. Percussive set another 12.8. And JRB sets a 12.5. 3 tenths faster than Percussive. But with likely probably 2 or 3 laps to go, that probably will not be enough. Pac-Man leads the way. And with under 3 minutes left, I'm expecting at most 3 laps. Probably closer to 2 laps to go here for Pac-Man. As he exits turn 9, as Trenton Krentz goes through turn... This little small left-hand kink, you could kind of make it out on the track map. They classify that as turn 7. I don't think it's really a turn, but that's what the Willow Springs track officials say. So, Trenton Krentz goes through now turn 9 as Pac-Man goes through turn 2. So that is the gap. It's about probably 19.5 seconds. So it'll take a big mistake from Pac-Man for trying to catch him here with now under 2 minutes to go. The next lap will probably be the last lap. And Percussive has just started another lap. He set a 13.5, and JRB set a 12.9, so it's not over. Percussive might have to make quite a mistake, though, to give JRB a real shot. But right now, a big story is somehow Bill Baldwin has made these tires last, I believe, close to 20 laps, and he runs third. He has done a tire management masterclass here at Willow Springs. And it's not costing him too much time either. I mean, a 13.9 really is not a good lap. But, I mean, 13.5 for Percussive, it's not terrible considering how old those tires are. Trenton Krentz set a 14.2 last time around. So, actually, Bill Baldwin is catching Trenton Krentz. But at this rate, he won't catch him, as this is likely the final lap here for Pac-Man. Under a minute left, and he should get to the start-finish line after the timer runs out. And if he does that, he will take the checkered flag and become a race winner in his GT Cup Series debut. He hits through turn 3, turn 4, up the hill. A corner that caught so many drivers off today. He took it perfectly all night through turn 5, through the S's. Turn 6 for the final time. Pac-Man in the number 19 Mountain Dew Toyota FT1 in his debut comes through the penultimate corner, now through the final corner that so many drivers were caught off guard by. He's playing from Mars, but it doesn't matter where he's playing from. Pac-Man will take the checkered flag as the timer runs out, and he will win the opening round of the 2020 GT Cup Series from Willow Springs. Trenton Krentz coming through turn 8 for the final time. He looks to hold on to second place. And at the bottom step of the podium, as long as he can take turn 9 clean one more time, Bill Baldwin will follow Trenton Krentz to third with an absolute strategy masterclass to make his way back up to the field. Percussive will hold on to fourth after just one mistake knocks him off the podium. JRB, same story for him, takes fifth just behind Percussive. And Tyler McMurder, who had a pretty smooth race aside from one mistake at the start, he will come around the final corner. He will be the last car to finish the race. He will finish 6th. Jesse Carlson in his debut finishes 7th. Chris Ryan finishes 8th. Rob Oglesby finishes 9th. And Rob Lohman Sr. 10th. That was the opening round of the 2020 GT Cup Series season from Willow Springs. and we hope you join us for the next event at Blue Moon Speedway.